Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Just give everybody a few minutes to get in. And we'll get started.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
I hear you. All right.
The challenges of the mothership computer at home dying, AT&T fixing the Wi-Fi today after it being knocked out by storms. And then my work computer finally died after 7 years, I think. And I am still writing all my passwords and usernames down on a piece of paper, which is just fine. And this is my second Zoom meeting. Oh, and you can hear me. It's going to be a great day.
That's great. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I never wanted to be in IT, but I'm telling you what, I feel pretty good now. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a really, really, really big leadership connection, because we surely, after our awesome membership and business partner and sponsor team gives us an update on everything. We haven't talked about founders in depth like this for a long time, so I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully my voice will hold out. That's why I got water, but I can talk founders, and I hope you guys are ready to talk about it too.
Yes.
Good.
Should I not be video on?
Oh, if you don't have your video on during one of my sessions, I'm going to call you out. I want your videos on. I want to see you. Now, when I run through this deck here, which is, I'm not a PowerPoint person, I'm a talker and a shower. So as I go through these slides here, you know, you can feel free to turn your camera off if you just want to focus on that or the website. But I would hope that everybody would want to see me in my cubby blue and see what the reaction is on their faces, because there's a point to this. Hi, Jesse.
Hey there.
All right. I think we'll just give it another 30 seconds or so. I want to be respectful of everyone's time, and I think we have a full session today. So let me just give it a few seconds here, and I'm going to turn things over to Heather Hennessy, who's going to update everyone on our membership activities. So Heather, why don't you go ahead and take the floor?
All right. Just a couple updates for August. Can you hear me okay? Kind of, at least?
Yes.
Okay. Had some audio issues earlier. So but we have just a few updates this month. So one of the big ones for August is one of the new ones is One Medical, which may sound familiar because of they've been in the news just a little bit since they were acquired by Amazon. And Nick Rogers is going to be our enterprise admin, and he also may sound familiar because he spent time at Conifer, so he's familiar with enterprise membership as well, and active with the chapter, of course. So you may have already spoken to him. if the Florida chapter is here. So, but just to give a little background, since this one is a little different too, it is a physician group. It's going to impact a variety of chapters, but mainly Northern California is going to be the main one. Right now, they have about 57 members. And another thing to note too, so a little more detail than I usually provide about each of them, but since it is kind of a unique one, they're basically focused mostly on educating their back-end revenue cycle initially, and then they want to build out a patient access LMS branch and grow the relationship with their revenue cycle world. So they're gonna, so they do want to make sure that the education is focused more on, primary care and outpatient within a physician side of billing focus. The next is we have a couple in for September already. So, they came in early. We have Boston Medical Center located in Boston. They're brand new, so not much is known quite yet, but they will impact the Massachusetts, Rhode Island chapter, 19 original members that we have. And then Currents is a business partner based out of Irvine, California, and they'll have up to 25 members in year one, but they'll be throughout different chapters as well. Our renewals for this month are our critical access hospitals. We have Hayward Area Medical Memorial Hospital and the Fulton County Health Center, Door County Medical Center are our renewals. And then just for more information on the goals for all of our enterprise members and any other, contact information, you can find that in your chapter toolkit. Any questions? A quick one today. All right.
Thank you, Heather. I'm sure myself
Thank you.
included and everyone on the phone appreciates the update that you give every month for these leadership connections. So are you ready? I'm going to share my screen now and let's talk founders, one of my absolute favorite subjects of all. All right. You guys see the right screen?
I do.
Pull up. Excellent. Let me just start my slideshow here. All right. There we go. Welcome everyone to today's session on the oldest engagement program that we have, which is the Founders Award Program. So I want to start today just with a little discussion here on what we want to cover today. I hope that, like I said earlier, when we get into the open Q&A, when we start reading about some of the feedback that we haven't had a few individuals share with us when we sent the survey out last week, we're going to get into all that today. And that's where I hope to see all your pretty faces and hear all of your awesome questions, because the one thing that you can never do is not ask a question. There is no such thing as a dumb question. So please, everything's on the table today. So let's just kind of highlight real quick today's discussion. We're going to go over it. What exactly is the Founders Award Program? And there's a lot of us, even though it's been around since 1960, that don't really know what it is. So let me just give you a little bit of the history of it and just a quick program overview. Founders was established in 1960, and what it does is it acknowledges the contributions made by HFMA members, turning that into a range of points for a specific activity. Since 1960, this program has only been revised one time. So let that simmer with everybody here as we have this really good ideation session today. It was revised in 2004. And when it was revised, it went back to returning its core purpose of recognizing the volunteer in you. What it does promote is that continuous active participation at the local and the national levels. And then the point system and award levels have been established to promote that continuous active participation in HFMA. And that's what we call Founders Points. And within those founders points, there's a series of 4 awards. And what we're going to talk about today too is a little bit more in detail what those 4 awards are, but I'll just kind of give you a high level overview. The first level is 25 points, and that is the Fomer Bronze Award. This award was named after William G. Fomer, who is credited with the creation of the American Association of Hospital Accountants, now HFMA. And then the next award level is at 50 points, and that's the Robert H. Reeves Silva Award. And Robert H. Reeves was an organizing member of the AAHA and was elected president of the AAHA in 1956 and was instrumental in creating the structure of the AAHA. The Frederick T. Muncie Gold Award is the next award level in the series of 4 that are awarded after earning 75 points. Frederick T. Muncie, an organizing member of the AAHA as well, and the first president of the association from 1947 to 1949. Muncie also assisted in the organization of the first AAHA, say that 6 times sideways, chapter, which is now the first Illinois chapter. The last level is by far the most prestigious level for this important engagement program. That's the Founders Medal of Honor. This award was added in 1986 and is conferred by nomination of the chapter board of directors. Now, the Medal of Honor recognizes an individual who has been actively involved in HFMA for at least 3 years after earning the Muncie Gold. And that individual has also provided significant service at the chapter regional and/or national level in at least 2 of those years, and that individual remains a member in good standing. Now, this medal, this prestigious award, this is where the chapter nominates the individual at any time over the year through this award. So Medal of Honor, one of the things about Medal of Honor, which is so key to having the engagement from the chapter level and the regional level, is a lot of times there's a list for Medal of Honor, and an individual systematically, once they become a individual eligible for that list, to be on that list, this is where the chapter can really help fill in the blanks of, what was that engagement that individual who is eligible for a Medal of Honor now have. Was that engagement somewhere at the committee level? Was that engagement somewhere at the chapter level, whether it's been contributing to a chapter communication or going out there on their social media channels, things like that. So the chapter has a significant role in the Medal of Honor. So now we're going to kind of go on and we'll do a review of where I can find my points on hfma.org on my account. I always put myself in the position of a member. Our 90,000 members, just let that number sink in for a minute, because every time I look at what our member count is, I'm blown away that we have 90,000 members in HFMA. So I'm going to show you from the member perspective where you can review your founders points and where those are at on my account on HFMA. I also want to make sure that everybody on the call today, however you contribute to this engagement program, whether it's you're the founder's contact, you're the chair, you're a member of the committee, you're the individual that's responsible for, getting those volunteers at the not micromanager, oh my goodness, bad choice of words, at the micro volunteer level, determining what those duties are for you as the chapter leader compared to the member. We'll go over that in depth. My most favorite part are the next 2 bullets, which we talk about the review and survey feedback and the open Q&A. So let's start. So the first place that we're going to go to is the Chapter Resource Center. But before we go to the Chapter Resource Center, I'm purposely going to do something because I like to do icebreakers, but I realize with 50 or 60 people for an hour session of fun, that's what we're going to have. We don't have time to do an icebreaker. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to make myself comfortable. And what that means is we drop the label. So here's Jenna. I am not working at home today. I am at our wonderful offices in Downers Grove. The first thing I see as Jenna is if I were the member. If I were someone new, if I wanted to know exactly how to engage with HFMA, when I see the word founders, hello, this is what I think. And I'm this person up here with my head going, wait a minute, this doesn't necessarily match engagement today, especially in whatever space we're in whatever post during COVID area, where we're at with digital education, where we want to take people, where your membership doesn't matter, wherever you're a member. It matters that you have access to all of these resources. You have access to engagement. And we have the perfect program here called the Founders Award Program. But in this perfect program that's only been revised once since 1960, we need your help. So let's go out here and just kind of let that sit for a minute. And let me show you the founder's experience from the member. So, oh, I cheated on my next slide, sorry. Let me stop sharing real quick and we're going to go to the website. Okay. Let me share again. We are getting this new laptop thing down pat. All right, can everybody see my screen? hfma.org. Excellent. So from hfma.org, I learned all about what wireframes and everything are. So I like to call, I know what it is now. So I go look for my picture in the wireframe. So I'm already logged in. So all you have to do to find out as a member where your founders points are is by clicking on your face, or if you haven't put your face up here yet, just clicking on the area. You don't even have to go into my profile. You don't have to go into anything other than my founders points. So I've put a bunch of founders points in here purposely over the last several years because we haven't had a real good discussion on founders and so forth. So just, just kind of a test. Here's some test data that I put in there. But your founders points, when a member goes into their profile, these are updated 24/7. Normally, if a chapter puts in founders points for an individual that served as an event volunteer, for example, that's one of the categories, or if they spoke at your local chapter event, that individual would be able to see their founders points within 24 hours. Our system doesn't update overnight, and then all that information is dumped into our database. So that's from the member's perspective on where they can find their points. This, I don't want to take the time to download it here, but I'm just showing it to you. It's also available in the Founders Award area of the Chapter Resource Center, which we're going to go into in just a couple of minutes here. But this is that program information. This is what tells you at the local, the regional, or the association level, what types of volunteer activities would determine currently what are eligible for founders points. And here's where we really are going to need your help. And this is where I want to take, kind of this discussion today, because this is your program. This is your recognition. You're the volunteers, you're the members out there doing the engagement. This is about you. So let's take this program and elevate it to a new level that makes sense to everyone, especially you. So let's go back here. I just want to make sure this is pretty much it for founders as a member. So it's really easy for an individual to go in here 24/7, 365 and look at the founders points. I compare founders points to, I'm not a CPA, or if I needed to have a CEU to, that if it was required for my education or either for my employment, that's on me. That's not on the founders contact to make sure that my points are up to date. That's on me. So there's that accountability that needs to happen when you go into your record as a member of HFMA, take advantage of all of the tools and resources that are available. And, this is one of those programs where unfortunately we haven't done a real good job of selling it, but it is it's a great program, but the ownership is on you to make the most out of your membership and tracking your founders points. So we're going to go to the next area because I want to talk about my duties if I was a founders contact. So we're just going to go back out here and I'm just going to go into, go away. Go away. Oh my goodness. Chapter Resource Center. Thank you. So from the Chapter Resource Center, you can, in the wireframe that I mentioned, you can go to tools and you can click on, these are the two most popular areas, find a chapter and the chapter resource center. So from the chapter resource center, we are going to go right into awards and recognition. And for the founders contacts or anyone as a volunteer, you know, on this call today, that this is the area that you want to go to. This is how you do it. So you go in here to founders awards. Now I'm noticing I need to go in here and make some text changes. But I'll take, you know, we'll take care of those. But the main point that I wanted to bring up is here's the 4 award levels that we talked about. Here is also how to learn more about information, you know, not only you as a founders contact, but you can share that with your chapter members as well. There's links here to the review and entry page, which we'll go through in just a minute. And then instructions on how to review and enter those points in. And then updating, you know, what most of us think about now with engagement with founders is chapter leadership or chapter committee participation. We've been out of the live education space for a little while now, but we're coming back into it. So start thinking of different ways at how, you know, a new member, a volunteer, anybody can engage. And that's what we're talking about. So the first thing as a founders contact that you need to do is download this founders report. And I'm going to go ahead and run one real quick just so you can all see, you know, what it looks like. The reason that I say download this founders report first is because I know our volunteers, you guys go in there and you do everything like before we even have to tell you to do it. So our system is the problem. Systematically, the brains in our system cannot figure out how, but it is getting figured out, how to not allow duplicates from coming in. So what I mean by this is the only part of the founders program that's automated is chapter leader roster entries. You can do those for 2 years. You can do those for the current leadership year, which is the 22-23 year. Founders activity recognize the volunteer activity from the prior year. So you have to serve at least 6 months in that role to earn founders points. So you're also able as a founders contact to update the prior leadership year, which was 21-22. That is the fiscal leadership year that we are in right now, recognizing activity through fiscal year 2022, which is May 31, 22, for individuals to achieve an award. So, oh, my founders report's ready. So let me move this over here to the other screen. All right. So here's a basic founders report. Now it's easy when I kind of go in here, I look at founders a few different ways, but you can kind of see, you know, how you can validate if you have a member that, or if you're, let me rephrase that. If you aren't sure if a member has their points updated from committee activity or not, you can run this founders report and you can check down here. I can't remember which chapter I'm, oh, somewhere in region 8. So, so you can go in here and you could look at that individual and say Amanda's points weren't, she contacted you and said, hey, I didn't see my points reflected for the committee work that I did on the program committee for the 2021-2022 year. That's something that you as the founders contact can update. You can go into this report. It's a report of all your members, all the awards that they've earned and achieved, when they achieved them. It's got those retroactive points that I talked about earlier, that conversion, the only update that's been done to this program since 1960. Those converted points are all in there as well. So this is a very good first start in being a founders contact, is just to double check. I do the same thing. I go in and just do it. And then sometimes I realize, because for one reason or another, I didn't know that I had something out there that I could look before I went ahead and made all these duplicate entries. And I went and I created myself a whole bunch of extra work. It happens. So run the founders report first and foremost. let me go back to the website here to the founders area. That's how you view and verify all chapter member points. What I also recommend, founders is one of those really, for all of the DCMS, here's more of these acronyms that I just drive me insane. The due date for founders has been July 1st. It's always been one of the softest due dates for DCMS. Now, whether you may know this or not, the Regional Executive Council is that governing body that establishes all of the DCMS awards, the chapter success plan, and all the policies related to the Davis chapter management system. So this is an area here where you can start thinking about how can you communicate some of the needs that you might need to make changes to this program. Well, you go up you communicate with your chain of command, your leadership. You contact us. You go in here, and if you have a member that's not sure if their points are up to date, you go run this founders report. If you see duplicates on that report, then you contact me, because we want to make sure, not me, I keep saying this, I've said it 100 times, there's no I in team, just Jenna. So you contact chapter@hfma.org, and we'll make sure that any data discrepancies or duplicates or anything missing that you are not able to update as a founders contact, we'll make sure that's taken care of for you. I started going down the path of my duties as a founders or founders chair. And then I kind of talked about actually, one of the second most critical things you can do. And because of the timing of the year, because of the due date of July 1st, I don't know about you guys, but I'm usually on vacation in July, and it's been an incredible year. We've had year end. We've had, I'm sure in your world, it's 10 times more complicated. What a horrible month, July. So don't worry about that July 1st due date, especially in the environment that we've been in the last 2 years. Nobody's been having events. So why do we need to order plaques every year? So when you're ready to order plaques for your event, we'll go over the timing and so forth here in just a minute. But you wait until you are sure that all of those points you're comfortable with what your members look, your founders report looks like. You've ensured that if there's a backlog on my end, all your duplicates are out, or that if the individuals, your chapter members, if they have had enough time to take a look at their points, considering the time of the year is and everything's up to date. If that's in November, that's fine. The way that you get to that end is I would recommend at least 2 touch points a year. Founders Award maintenance is always only done once a year. And the due date for that, like I said, is July 1st. I would recommend you have your new leadership coming in. Your new leadership starts to get engaged with the chapters. I only see it from my side because that's when you can start putting in your leadership roster for the next year. So January 1st of 2023, you're going to already be able to get your incoming leadership at whatever level into the HFMA database, so we can start engaging, and the chapter can start engaging with those individuals. So I go off on these tangents here, and then I try to reel myself back in. So those touch points, what I mentioned, I would suggest in January, everybody's kind of the third week of January, Christmas is over, everybody's trying to convince themselves that it's time to go back to work. So January is a month that I would recommend just sending out a quick update. There's some evergreen templates that we'll go in and just take a look here in just a second here as well. It's just a quick email zap. It's a quick posting on your LinkedIn. It's a quick Facebook posting. It's find the ways that your members are engaging, whatever means of communication it is. It's not, if I depended on my email to tell me everything, I would be lost. I turn all of my notifications off and I go to my apps, and that's where I look for my things that I have to do today. So just, speaking from the trenches, I would just recommend that in order to keep it under control, I would highly recommend January. And then I would also recommend kind of staying in line with June. But not with the expectation that your chapter members or you as the volunteer have to have everything done by July 1st. So I hope that eases everybody's, or, a little bit, some of the discomfort that I myself have felt, working with founders as well, but I can appreciate how it can affect you all as volunteers. So when you're ready to run your report and you are 100% sure that you've got all of your points in, whether that's in July, whether that's in November, this is the report you want to run. It's the Founders Award Eligibility Report. Notice I need to change this to 2022, so ignore that. It's just me. I need to make some text changes. So we're going to open up a Founders Report, and then I'll see which chapter I'm assigned to. Aha! Greater Heartland. So this is very good that I actually ran this report, because this brings up a bunch of questions. Okay, Greater Heartland ordered their Founders Awards already for the 2022 year. We put them in our database. That's why these individuals, there's only individuals that are showing up for Medal of Honor. This is what I meant about Medal of Honor. An individual who is on the Medal of Honor list may not necessarily, at least at the association level, we might not be able to know what that active member engagement is. This is where the chapter can really help. So when you run an awards report and you only see Medal of Honor, it can mean one of two things. It can mean either the members in your chapter aren't eligible yet for a level at 25, 50, or 75 points, which happens. You could have no Founders Awards for bronze, silver, or gold for the year. And then the other way that it could happen is just like this, where a chapter has already ran their report and they've cleared out the bronze, silver, and gold. And now you have this list of Medal of Honor individuals that are eligible. And this is where you need to take this to your 4 board meetings a year, or you take this to LTC, or you take this, maybe you talk about it. Not every president's meeting or every monthly call that we do and that I know our team participates in, but maybe you take a look at it quarterly. Same thing with chapter life membership. I always go along with those same rules as well. There's a lot of individuals that are on this list. I see 5 just on this list alone from Greater Heartland that I know they're actively involved as well as a volunteer. So I'll go ahead and get away from the Medal of Honor report. And we'll just go back to the website. So founders order forms. It took me about 15 years to get smart with this, and it finally clicked. All of this is now in Cvent. No more are the days of the Word forms and the volunteer having to manually go in there and type it. And then, on our end to do more manual work. And then it just is so clunky. So I don't know why it took me so long to figure this out, but I finally got it. And Brianna built the forms. So it's awesome. We have a form out here for bronze, silver, and gold. You'll notice let me go back. You'll notice the date. Whether we all want to realize it or not, we're going to have supply chain issues through 2023. Definitely through 2022. We've seen this all year with, and I can appreciate, and I know for a fact that of the, how many chapter leaders do we have on here today? 55 participants on this session. We're not going to call it, I'm trying to get rid of these old words. So to me, this is an ideation session. So this 45 days here is seriously 45 days. I've been shocked even over the last month or so, because I go outside and we started having parties again and we barbecued and we do this, that, and the other. But I have to remember that, a lot of trucks are parked on the other side of the country and can't get things to us when we were used to having them. So when you're ready to run your awards list, what I would recommend, even though this says 45 days prior to it, it's needed. I think a lot of us know, at least with save the dates now, when we're going to have an event. I would even bump that out to 60, just in case, we have been doing something when we run into these situations, especially recently. We don't ever want you to go to your event with nothing to present. So we'll digitize that for you. So at least you've got a nice looking certificate so you can give to that individual and just waiting for the plaque to come in. So when you guys are all ready to order your Founders Awards, you just fill out the little form, you put your information in, you can select your chapter, the award year. Now this is something really good because with the environment we've been in the last couple of years, if you didn't order your Founders Awards for last year, everything's gonna, you don't ever keep counting points. So everything is going to roll up to the next fiscal year. So if any of you out there have questions about, gee, when did Joe Smith earn this award? Was it really 2021 or was it really 2022? Just send an email to our team at chapter@hfma.org and we can take a look at that for you. Here's what you're used to seeing on that word order form: bronze, silver, gold, the due dates, your delivery options and so forth. This was so easy. It's just, it's some of the easiest things that we kill ourselves over before we realize that we've been doing it backwards all along. So with all of this in Cvent now, that gives the ability for us to take your information and download it all into one Excel sheet. So it takes away all the stuff from especially the volunteer perspective, to have to find the form, fill it out, save it, check it against here, no more. So it's all Cvent. Round of applause. Woohoo! All right. So I'm just going to go back here to the Founders Award page. Same thing for Medal of Honor. We're also doing that as well. Supply chain issues aren't going anywhere, so we'll digitize anything that won't make it to your event on time. Some of these additional processes that I talked about, or resources rather, this Founders Award process is the same document that is up on your My account when you want to look at your Founders Points as a member or download information about the program. This is a good one. The Founders Award recipient roster. This is a list of everyone in your chapter that have received a Founders Award. Now you're going to notice in here that there's going to be individuals from other chapters listed on this roster because they could have earned that bronze in the Greater Heartland chapter, and then they could have moved to another chapter and they could have ended up earning their silver in the North Dakota chapter. So you're going to see different chapter names on that. These communication templates is what I kind of wanted to go over. Just, I'm sure I've got templates all over the place, but if you're stuck and you just are like, okay, how do I go out? How do I just send a quick message out? Feel free to use these templates. That's why they're here. Just doing things like announcing at your events, if as part of your scripting, as part of your speeching. If you want to use some of these templates we have here for the 4 award levels to include into your scripting, feel free to do it. I'm all about lifting it from someplace else and making my own. Why beat myself up against the wall if I don't have to create it when somebody has probably created it better? All right, some of these press release templates. Boy, I haven't been in here in a while. Oh, this is actually pretty good. This is some of that evergreen information that, if you're looking to do a press release, and I know press releases today mean something different than they did 10 years ago. If you want to highlight an individual on your website, if you want to, somehow honor this individual in some kind of a publication at whatever level you want to promote this individual and their achievements. Here's some of those just templates here that you can take a look at just for some ideas. So just double checking my agenda here, checking my time, and we're at my favorite time of the day. All right, let's get the deck back up here and let's talk. Okay, so After everything you heard me say, I think a lot of you can appreciate too, whether you're new, just in it, or have been doing it forever. I'm sure we can all appreciate this. It can be so much bigger. So this is why I wanted all of you, and if you didn't have the opportunity to do it before, the opportunity just to take a look at the survey feedback, and then I'm going to open it up here in about 4 minutes, and we're going to do some open forum, some ideation. I want to see you. I'm tired of talking. So some of the feedback that we got that we sent out last week, we had 9 brave individuals. Thank you, you 9, for responding. One of the questions I purposely wanted to know was, do you know how to earn founders points? 9 of you responded yes. The reason that I asked this question is because when I was at LTC in April in Phoenix, I was still shocked. I talk founders all day long, and I'm still shocked that this award program that's been around since 1960 is so in the dust. And it's just not, people don't talk about it. People don't get excited about it like I do. So thank you, 9. And then some of this other activity here. What kind of activity do you think is worthy of receiving founders points? I love seeing this stuff. We'll just look at real quickly. Community service projects are huge. I do community service projects in my own area. Well, we need to kind of take a look at things to see exactly what is engagement. It's engagement everywhere. It's networking, it's people. So when I read these comments, helping with the local, regional, national events, publication, and leadership roles, you all are like me. We're the sausage inside the casing. So let's build this program into something so much more than what it is now. And let's engage 90,000 people. Wouldn't that be just awesome to be able to do that? Some of this other engagement is volunteering as a committee member, more of these leadership roles, which are fantastic. Some of the other comments I loved, chapter leadership, event volunteers, speaker engagement. I go back to the buddy system. I've talked about this for so long where I wouldn't have made it. And actually she told me not to bring her name up, but I'm going to say Shirley Hevlin trained me on founders 16 years ago. So when we talk about event volunteers, think of what an event volunteer could mean if you get engagement from a new member. Think about what that could do to your program. Think about what that could do to your membership recruitment efforts. All of that is in there. It's engagement. It's what we're all dying for again. The in-person attendance. This was the change that was changed. We used to, or I should say not we, the association, your association, tracked in-person attendance, because at that time that was engagement. The points were much different. And here's where I want to challenge everyone to think outside of the box. What exactly is event attendance now? That could be attendance in many different ways. You could be attending virtually. You could be attending through the LMS, the learning management system. You could be attending live education. So kind of give some thought around that. There's some examples listed here from you all. Perfect. Articles, webinars, speaking is exactly what I'm talking about. Everything that currently qualifies, I think, is deserving. That's great. Couple other comments here. What do you think of the current Founders Award recognition program? It does seem to be working well. I would agree. I think the awards should all be plaques, not printed certificate, that the bronze and silver are now. I totally appreciate that. Founders has gone through kind of an overhaul with everyone else over the last 2.5 years. So we tried to adapt into this new world, and we tried to adapt in the most efficient way, at the end of the day, budget wise, and being able to provide a service to our members. So I would really like to hear your feedback on some of that, whether we have enough time to do it today in the 20 minutes I'm going to give you all, if I can stop talking, or when you shoot an email, or however you want to do it. But I want that feedback. We need that feedback in order to make this program what it should be. Just that recognition, that's just one word. I can read this last sentence and that's exactly it. Why are you a volunteer? Why do you want to engage? Because several different things. I look at it as me, myself. Yes, I want that recognition that I've been involved in a leadership position for 10 years. Or yes, I'd like that recognition that I've been speaking at an event for the last 4. So I love hearing that, because that's essentially at the end of the day what it is. If you're not going to do it for something other than the reason that you want to do it, what's the point? So I love that last comment. More of the survey feedback. This doesn't surprise me either. I don't think that it is necessary. I've heard that as well. And that's where we need to get founders dusted off and out of the corner. I think it would benefit from an in-person requirement like ACHE to drive attendance at local events. This is engagement. This is all engagement. So one last surprise, and then I'm going to open it up so all of you can talk. This is coming. We need to stay connected. And the whole point of some of these discussions that we got into and had at LTC, at least the track that I was in at president and president-elect the whole time, this kept coming up. Community, engagement. That's exactly what Founders is. So we are coming up with the Founders community on hfma.org. And we will be having that sent out. We're going to send it out to, once it's ready to go, we're going to have that sent out to the current Founders contacts and co-chairs. I also want to copy the chapter presidents on that. Anybody else on this call, the regional executive team, I think it'd be another good a group of people to let them know that this is coming. But this is the push that we need from you all on the ground. Let's start talking about it. So if we get a community put together, that'll be happening here in the next 2 weeks. I can promise you that. That's how we're going to stay connected, and that's how we're going to keep moving forward and keep talking about Founders until it's the program that you all want. Let's talk. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay. No. All right. Unmute yourself and show yourself, and let's have some fun. Let's talk Founders. Anything. There's nothing that is on or off the table. Who wants to be first? Yes.
Jenna, this is Ed Coyle, and I know
Hi,
I
Ed.
was on the call with you yesterday with the Metro Philly group, or Recipient, actually. So I'll ask the same question I asked there, just for the broader group. When I was inputting Founders points, and also we found that somebody actually, we needed some edits, because like you mentioned before, duplicates, or somebody got, was initially supposed to be on the committee and then ended up, not doing it because of work changes and things. So, how do you do the edits? Because we can only do input.
I love that. Thank you, Ed. This is where I need you to all remind me of what I've answered questions on, because this is perfect. I totally forgot about this. This is a great point. As a Founders contact, co-chair, president, or president-elect, you are able to enter points only for the current year or the prior year. You can't change any points. You can't delete any points. You can't do any of that. That's what we're here for. So if you need points entered in for a member that, say, earned Founders points in 2017-18, send that to chapter@hfma.org. We can retroactively award that individual points. If there's an error in one of your chapter members' records, we can fix that. If you need to make a change, I do it all the time. If you accidentally named a committee something wrong, or you put in something wrong and you submitted it before, chapter@hfma.org, we can make all of that happen. So thank you, Ed, for bringing that up. I appreciate it.
This is Cheryl from Maryland chapter. How are you?
Hi, Cheryl. Good. How are you? Good to see you again.
Good. I just wanted to say, I think it's a great program. It's been a great program for a very long time. I do think that people really appreciate being recognized. I liked your idea about the silver maybe being a little bit more substantial than the certificate. I don't know what that looks like. Maybe some other people want to chime in, but You'd be surprised. I heard at LTC somebody say, well, maybe the old plaque wasn't that great, the plastic one, but you know what? I still see that plaque on people's desks when I walk.
I know.
Offices, right? So, so I like
love
that.
that.
Yeah, just sharing.
Great feedback. Would anybody like to add to that conversation?
This is Katie Tar. I
Hi, Katie.
kind of switching topics. I had a question. We have a number of folks who maybe have changed chapters. And so, this mostly comes into play when it comes to the Medal of Honor. So obviously if someone like earned all their points in South Texas and then moved to Tennessee, they're automatically going to get their awards that they've met, or if maybe somehow they're on the board in Texas, but their home chapter is Tennessee, they're still going to get their awards. But then when you get to the Medal of Honor point, we are the only ones who are going to see that they are eligible, even though they may have served in another chapter. So we have three folks who have primarily done their service in other chapters, actually 4, Alabama, Nevada, South Texas, and Mississippi, but now they're eligible for Medal of Honor, and we don't know them because they haven't served in our chapter. So if you could speak to how do we do that? What should we do in that case?
That is a great question, Katie. Yes. Even if your membership lapsed, because, for so long, we were all used to 5/31 being the magical date, and now it's anniversary billing. So, even when your membership lapses, your points will follow you. So when you renew your membership, your points are still going to be there. If you change chapters, your points are going to follow with you as well, like Katie had mentioned. So if you're running into a situation that this actually happened a couple of weeks ago, if you need to know activity on an individual, that engagement activity, meaning volunteering, things are currently eligible to receive founders points, speaking, event volunteers, and so forth. Please let me know, because I can go in and run a profile so you can kind of match that engagement up with that individual if they're new on a listing for your chapter. That's a great question.
Hey,
And I
Bill, it's Sue
see-
Pryor. Sorry it's taken me all day to return your call.
It's okay.
Just a little bit of a crazy one. Was out unexpectedly yesterday. As far as the rate's concerned, we really charge kind of all over the board. It depends on what the project is. I would say probably anywhere around 175 at the low end for some of my consultants, all the way.
Sorry,
up
could one of my
to,
operators mute Sue Pryor?
$4.95 an hour.
Oh, hold on a
Depends
second.
on
Let
the
me see if
length
I can
of the
do that. Thank you. Sarah Brainerd, you have your hand raised, girl.
Hi.
Unraise it.
I'm gonna unraise it. Hi, everybody. So I think as the world's changing and the founder points haven't really changed, we need to honor those who do a lot of the lift in the new world. So the folks that are, sending out all these email blasts and, as like a kind of a micro task point earning, but more like social media. I'm on there all day, every day, making posts and spending tons of time. And just my little points that I get from being a committee member, I've already been through the ranks. I've gotten all the awards. So I'm not going to get anything else, but to see some of my team and committee members do that day in and day out, and they don't get any recognition, that's a lot of work. So, some of those things that are like heavier lifts in the new world, that's a little more digital communication, I think should earn some points. So I thought I'd put that out there.
Thank you. That is awesome feedback. Awesome feedback. Thank you so much. Who else wants to share some of their ideas or experiences or feedback? How can we make this all better?
This is Katie. I would just say you can get around that by considering that a publication for your chapter, which is 1 point. So I would suggest folks not wait to give credit for that, but to consider that a publication on behalf of the chapter and give credit under that category. But Jen, is circling back to what my question was. So if someone earned their bronze, silver, gold all through from Alabama, but now they're listed as my person, I should still be the one nominating them and then just sharing their case for nomination, or should that go through Alabama's chapter process?
That should go through you, Katie, with the member's current chapter. Now, when this has happened as well, it might be a good idea if you know, or if you want to reach out to that chapter president, just to talk to that chapter president as well, you can, but it's always up to what that member's current home chapter is now, where that award will be given from. So it's going to say Tennessee.
Okay.
Or to be on
thank you.
Tennessee's list rather. Does that help answer it a little better?
Yeah, yes.
Good, good. You know, if I ask this question, I bet you I'll get a bunch of people to answer. What don't you like about the program? You guys love it?
You're preaching to those of us who have drank the Kool-Aid already, I think.
I know. Let me ask a different question. What do you define as member engagement? What do you think would earn a founder's point to be an engaged member? If I joined HFMA today, how would you tell me that this is worth it? This is worth it to get involved because you're going to get recognized through founders points. Let me lay that little bomb out there and let me see what comes back. Wow, we got a quiet group today. I must be the only nut in the room here that loves to talk about founders.
Jenna, this is Shauna from Montana.
Hi, Shauna. How are you, dear?
And I'm good. How are you?
Good.
And you know, this is fantastic because honestly, I think that our chapter can do better in sharing the basics of what are the founders points.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we may have I know we just haven't done that. We haven't met that because when I started with HFMA a couple of years ago, not too long ago,
Mhm.
I had no idea what founders points were.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've had this revamp of the website that's a little bit
Mhm.
easier to work with, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. I think we just need more member engagement.
Yep.
So if anybody has any suggestions on to do that and then kind of fit the founders points in there, I'm open to any and you can feel free to email me.
I love that, Shauna. And Sarah, my friend from New York, asked the perfect question. Member referrals, does that earn points now? It certainly does not. So how do you get a new member engaged? Remember all those insane competitions that we had, with the membership challenges and this, that, and the other? Well, how do we challenge somebody to become engaged when they're a member? I mean, a member referral, you get the chapter pumped up, you can get the individual pumped up. It's things like that I want to task everybody with, especially when we open up this new community, to start really thinking outside of the box and how you can turn this program into a program where, I know this is a stretch, but wouldn't it be awesome if all 90,000 members knew what this engagement program is and how it can work from the chapter level up to the association level and the association level back down to the chapter? That's what I see founders as, is engagement. So I love all these comments. Anybody else?
This is Matt from Connecticut. Is there is there anything around, maybe even at the national level, in terms of member engagement that is happening when you look at the enterprise members, where there's 200 members from an enterprise member of ours, and is national tracking their individual membership engagement, or is it tracking it at the enterprise level?
Heather, are you still on the phone here? If not, I'm going to jump in and answer it. All right, I'm going to jump in and answer it. That's such a good question, because really the way that I think of engagement and the way that the association is trying to think of engagement as it does matter. Let's be real, black and white. It does matter if you're an enterprise member or an individual member. But what doesn't matter is being that individual or enterprise member that can still gain access to all the tools and that can still feel engaged and that the chapter can get engaged. I spent a facilitation yesterday with the North Carolina chapter, and there was an individual there who was leading the facilitation who just dropped off as an RE, and now she's a CAT, and the engagement from that enterprise organization by opening it up to their employees to really say, hey, let's see what this is kind of all about, has just benefited us across the board. She filled in such a gap yesterday that's just, it's our future. So it's, you know, it is, we do engagement, and we do have, Matt, to answer your question, a portal that does track engagement, and I would be happy to connect you with Heather Hennessy, and she can go over that with you in detail. That's not in my wheelhouse, but I know it's there.
Excellent. Yeah, I think because, you know, for us, we know we've got some new members, and when the enterprise members come on, it's, you know, there's people that got their membership. You know, when it was individual memberships, we were all either voluntold or we had to go to a boss and ask to get paid for the membership or to join. So there was already a buy-in and an engagement, where somebody who just starts an organization and says, here's your HFMA membership, it's and there's some massive numbers now, right?
Yep. And it's that, there's massive numbers, but you know what, there's massive value if we can tell it and we can do it, and you know, we're starting to see it. We're all getting together again. I mean, it's what a great time for a program like this to just be gutted and let you all turn it into the program that you want it to be.
Excellent. Yeah, and I'd love to get in touch with Heather about that.
I will, as soon as we're done, Matt, I will swap emails and you guys can get in touch.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet. We got a couple minutes left here. Does anybody else want to be brave?
How does the fellowship, like if you were like a CHFP and then you go into a fellow of HFMA, how do those two, can they tie together with receiving that? I know there used to be volunteer hours that was that. So how can those items help each other?
Shirley, are you still on the call where you could answer this one better than me? If not, okay. I'm going to let Shirley answer this one in our career services area, straight from the horse's mouth.
Hi, thanks, Jenna. Can you repeat the question? I didn't quite hear the first part.
Okay, so, you know, part of founders is definitely volunteerism and helping out the chapter. And when you move from a certification, like in my instance, I did this many years ago, I had my CHFP, it may be called something different now. And then I used my volunteer hours from other organizations to earn my fellow of HFMA. So how can you tie founders points along with the fellow, tie those two together, because they seem to be wanting the same thing or to move in the same direction. Like what I'm trying to say is get the boat, you know, get the boat rowing for both programs pointed in the same direction.
Yes, and we actually, one of the requirements for fellowship now, the current program, is you can use several different volunteer activities. It can be non-HFMA, it can be earning the Bronze Founders Award, or it can be participating in local chapter committee. So there's a combination of different volunteer activities that do actually currently tie in that volunteer piece in with the fellowship application. So it may not have been when you did it, but it is currently.
It seems like that should be something that we should be promoting more then, because, you know, I haven't heard anything about that or, you know, talked about it. And so how can all of this tie together?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point that we include more information about that in the founders award program itself. Because you're right, there's not a connection there. So I think it's definitely something we can talk about. That's a really good point.
And I appreciate you asking that question, Danica, because this is what we need to provide easier. This is the whole point of this founders community that's going to be coming up. So I know we ran a couple of minutes over, but I thought it was important to end with that so everyone could see the tie-in between the engagement that we have and the opportunities for this program. So I want to thank all of you for listening to me talk and participating today. And as soon as we have that community up, you will all be made aware of it. But in the meantime, keep the questions coming, chapter@hfma.org. And I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. And thanks again for participating today, guys. Bye-bye.